how to get the necessary documents for Italian citizenship application. Today we want to discover a little bit about getting the documents because sometimes it can be pretty hard, especially for some cases, some processes like the Italian citizenship by descent. So today we want to focus both of the main process of Italian citizenship, so Italian citizenship by descent and Italian citizenship by marriage. We don't talk about the Italian citizenship by naturalization or by residency, so given the fact that you can live here for 10 years and get your residency, because in these type of cases, which are in some ways similar to the Italian citizenship by marriage, there are some documents on case-by-case basis. So the documentation and checklist must be checked directly with the applicant, with the client. This is Marco Bersani as always from the Bersani Law Firm and Partners from Italy, and do not lose any more time. Let's start. So how to get the necessary documents for preparing and so for filing your application for Italian citizenship by descent. For citizenship by descent, what is really important is to pay attention on where you're going to file. Because if you file through the Italian consulate, there are some main documents, some key documents that you for sure need 100%, but each consulate can treat your case differently. If you go through a consulate A, they list a sort of document, they have a specific checklist, but if you go to the Italian consulate B, maybe they have a different checklist. So it's always important to check on the website of your Italian consulate what is the exact specific checklist for your case. But what are, generally speaking, the document, how to get those documents? What is really important as we are talking about Italian citizenship by descent, by blood, what is important is to prove that you have one Italian heritage, of course, one or multiple Italian heritage, and the Italian heritage is eligible. Of course, the second one is clearly that's the most important thing. You can have an Italian grandfather, but for some reason you don't qualify maybe. So it's very, very important to check since the beginning your eligibility. So when you have, let's say, an eligibility check, so 100% sure that you qualify for Italian citizenship by descent, it's always important to get all the main vital records offices. So we are talking about birth certificates, marriage certificate, death certificate. So starting from your Italian ancestor to you need all those documents. Let's say you start from your Italian grandfather. Your bloodline is grandfather, your father, and you as a main applicant. So you will need your grandfather, birth certificate from Italy, marriage certificate, death certificate. For your father, the same. Birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate. And for you, your birth certificate, and if you are married, you can also use of your marriage certificate. If you have children that you want to add, yes, you can also, if they are minors, include your children, because minors can get Italian citizenship through you automatically. So those are, generally speaking, the most important documents. But there are other documents that you need to consider. For example, starting from Italian ancestor. What happened to your Italian ancestor? They naturalized in your country. Let's say your grandfather immigrated to Canada. What happened there? Did he take Canadian citizenship? Or let's say that your grandfather landed in Canada and after a couple of years your grandfather went to the US. So there are two places you need to analyze. You need to analyze if he naturalized in Canada and then if he naturalized in the US. That's very, very important. So you need to pay attention on what happened. So how to gather those documents? In a standard case, let's assume you don't have particular complication. You need the official naturalization records or a proof that he or she never naturalized. For example, in the US, you can contact some local authorities like local court, the National Archives, or that's very important, the main document is the documentation coming from the so-called USCIS, the so-called United States Immigration Office's genealogy section. So USCIS genealogy is the federal office that will take care of making research for your Italian ancestor. So you need to file your request for an index search, pay the fees, and then they will search for if there are, of course, naturalization records. And if there is nothing, the same USCIS will send you a certificate of non-existence of naturalization. You need, of course, to apply for it. They don't send it to you automatically. You need to request specifically with a specific application for a certificate of non-existence of naturalization. This is for the US, but I mean also if you are from another country, it's the same. Each country has an immigration naturalization office, a citizenship office. They have all the records for what happened in the past. So if you are, for example, from Canada, you can go through the authorities in Toronto, wherever you live, to check. Or also there is through the Global Affairs in Canada, there is a specific office that can take care of researchers. The same is for all the other countries. So of course, in each country has its name for the office. Maybe it's called Home Affairs, Global Affairs, Immigration Genealogy Office. I mean, each one is different, but this is the same office. What is also very important, if you have some complication to the case, maybe you have to add additional document. For example, if you find some major discrepancies on the names, dates, information on documents, so by cross-checking, there's a doubt that there is the same person, or you're sure he's the same person, but the Italian authorities must be 100% sure. If your grandfather had your grandfather's name was Antonio Rossi, for example, and Antonio Rossi's name on the child certificate is not Antonio Rossi, but is John Smith, but it's completely different, well, we have a problem. So what do you need? Some additional documentation in these particular cases. You will need to make a change, or you can do it, if you are lucky, through the Vital Records office, or if not, if you are not able to amend, you need a court order. You need a one and the same court order to reflect the changes, to correct everything. So this is very, very important. So how to get those documents? Because this is the key of the video, how to get those documents. Well, we always suggest, if you don't have many records, because now in 2024 we are lucky with internet, almost everything digitalized. You can find something online through ancestry.com, Family Search, other similar website, or by talking to other people. Maybe you're lucky enough to find some or many or all documents. If not, what we recommend is to get a genealogist. So you hire a genealogist, so professional that can be hired for researching your story, building up your family tree, to understand exactly also what happened. Because, for example, as I said before, let's assume that your grandfather landed in Canada and then moved to the US, for example. You have two countries to analyze for the naturalization records. So a genealogist we are sure that the genealogist can really track what happened, what was the journey of your Italian ancestor. So everything can be found in this way for sure. So the genealogist is a professional. For the other document, you need to contact, of course, the official offices in your home country. For the application, the Italian authorities, Italian consulate, the Italian court, they want the official documentation. You cannot just share copies, photocopies, something you just found online on random website. You need official copies, so copies of documents that are certified by those offices. Then you need the apostille, so the way to legalize the document for being legally valid in another country, in Italy, in our case. And then you need to make a translation that must be certified, must be legalized by the Italian consulate if you do it abroad, or in Italy if you do it in Italy. So this is very, very important. You need for sure during the journey to potentially have, if you don't have a really simple case, you need to have the support of other people. If you also hire, this is our case, if you hire a law firm that will assist you since the beginning to the end, a law firm, and we can provide those services, we can assist you, not just on the legal part, but we have some partners, some professionals that can cover your needs. If you need a genealogist, if you need translation, if you need to get a document from your home country, we can cover everything. So makes sense, of course, to not try, if you want to prepare your application. If you want to try, you can. But if you don't have a really, really simple application, for example, your starting ancestor is your father, so you have just 3 documents to collect. Of course, there is a short lineage But if you have your grandfather, great-grandfather, or even more great-great-grandparents, there are really complications, really huge complications. So the answer to how to get a document is to try, if you're lucky enough, to get your document through the official channels, and eventually to hire some professionals. They can help you for sure. Some like companies or better, of course, law firms to guiding you on the process, because it's very, very important that you are covered. There are many things you need to cover during the journey. Consider the journey is very long, because for sure few years will pass. Do not think there are fast track ways to apply, so you need to be covered on every side. Differently, the second option, so the Italian Citizenship by Marriage. What you have to do, how to gather your documents for the application for Italian Citizenship by Marriage. Well, here, of course, you are not to deal with the genealogy. We are not to deal with your bloodline, your family tree. It's you. You are the applicant. We need your document. So here we are talking about, of course, getting your document through the official channels, through the official authorities in your own country and in all countries that you eventually touch base. For example, let's assume you are an American citizen. Okay, you need to have those documents. You were born in the US, you need a birth certificate there. You married in the US, you will need a marriage certificate there. And also from Italy, because the marriage must be registered also in Italy. Let's assume that you lived in other countries for more than 1 year, and so you will need not just a criminal background check from your home country, but also from the other country where you lived for more than 1 year. In this type of situation, it's little more difficult to make a checklist, because each case is different, each one has a different story, a different background, so the documentation of course is different. But how to get the document here? Only through official channels. You need to contact the local authorities on country and to other countries, for example. Also from Italy, your marriage, as I said, must be registered in Italy. Of course, from Italy, we can cover everything, so don't worry. But from other countries, of course, there are some additional work to do, because the application must be perfect since the beginning. You cannot find an application for marriage, for citizenship by marriage, and then after adding more documents. The Italian authorities will never ask you for integrations. You need to, since the beginning, add everything. If your application is not complete, your application will be rejected, for sure, 100%. So everything must be well prepared since the beginning. Also, of course, for sure, any Italian attorney with a specialization of Italian citizenship, with the expertise in Italian citizenship. So we can also, of course, add this service for you, provide this service for you. We can help you to not just collect the documents, but to review the documents, of course, filing the application for sure, and being sure that the application is well prepared. As always, thank you so much for your time. It's very, very important. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is very, very important for us, for sure, as a support, because it's a way to support us. We are doing everything here for free, doing the videos, sharing with you information for free. So it's very important to us to continue to make this service for you. And also it's important for you because every time we post a video, a post, something more, everything that we post for you, you will be notified to your phone, to your computer immediately. So it's very important to be updated with everything that we post about the Italian citizenship process and Italian visa in general, about Italian immigration. If you want, you can contact us, of course, through the website. There's a contact form that you can use. You can send us a request, some question, or of course, if you want to book a consultation call, this is always the best way to proceed because we can talk with you face by face, talk about your case, solving your problems, your doubts, your question, and setting up a tailored strategy for your case because each case is different. Do not think that the case for Italian citizenship by descent are copy and paste cases, and it's not like that. I mean, each case is different. So do not think that you can do it just because you heard or you read something online. Maybe yes, in the really very little chance, or if you have a really easy case, but it's not always like that. Thank you so much as always again for your time, and see you on the next videos.